Hey, what's up? I'm Basil Barrington, and today we're going to just talk a little bit about some stuff that's popping off in the DJ industry and the DJ space. DJ news. Let's talk about DJ news. I think I have 3 or 4 items I want to talk about, I want to discuss, okay? So check this out, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is, like, there was a Reddit post and someone had pulled some documents from the FEC or FTC. And, you know, they were talking about how AlphaTheta, Pioneer DJ, is going to release a brand new DJ controller that will replace the djay XDJ XZ. And this one is called the XDJ AZ. Again, they have, like, you know, blueprints, the whole 9. This is going to be a standalone. And, you know, when I saw this, you know, I think Gear News posted it, then like Digital DJ Tips or something like that. P-Dot spoke about it as well. I saw it on Reddit. You know, the question is, like, do we need another standalone controller from Pioneer DJ? And the answer is yes. You know, I mean, the, what is it, the Opus Quad, that joint is like $3,500 or something. It's over $3,000, right? And the XDJ XZ, I had 2 of those, right? And that, I think that's just a totally awesome DJ controller, all in one. I should say standalone DJ controller. However, it's getting long in the tooth. It's very old. And why not just use some of that new technology that AlphaTheta is, you know, they put into the 2 brand new controllers they have, the Opus and that little small one that looks blue. They put that sort of, like, you know, standalone technology into those 2 devices. Why can't we have something in between those? Something in between that little small blue controller and the Opus. And right there in the middle could be the XDJ AZ. I don't know, is AZ's Arizona, or I don't know, right? Was this built in Arizona? But it's the XDJ AZ. If they do come out with this, I'm hoping that, you know, the screen size is a little larger. I hope the jog wheels are just as large as the XDJ XZ. And, you know, just give us some sort of, like, features like built-in Wi-Fi and things like that, maybe even Bluetooth. So I'm for it, you know. So AlphaTheta, I want to see this device because I'm not buying any more DJ controllers, because the 2 XZs I had actually sold and got the Flex 10, and I also have the Traktor Control S4, the Traktor Control X1. Both of those are the latest versions, and I also have a Traktor Control S8. That's right now, that's my favorite DJ controller, so keep that in mind. So let's also talk about Algorithm's DJ Pro app. Now this is for desktop, this is for mobile, everything else, right? So they had an update recently, DJ Pro, and everything was fine, right? I think it was like 5.0.2 or something like that, or 5.2. And then Apple had an update. They updated like Sonoma, so this was a big update. And then, then all of a sudden, like, you know, you started like getting a lot of stuff in the Algorithm's DJ forum where they were saying, hey, there's an error message every time I try to use tracks, you know, from Apple Music. You know, Apple Music is integrated with, you know, DJ Pro, you know, so you can use that streaming service. You don't have to, like, I mean, if you have, and I said this story before, that I used to purchase Tidal just so I can have a streaming service that will work with, you know, the major DJ softwares. Algorithm is the only company, DJ Pro, where you can integrate that with Apple Music streaming. So, and it's a pretty tight, and I say this all the time too, Algorithm DJ Pro, it's a pretty tight software, but it may be too tight. But anyway, so when you try to load a track into a deck, you get this error message, and it's like, hey, you know, there's like one of these library files that's missing, right? So, you know, DJs were up in arms, you know, again, just go to the Algorithm DJ forum, and it's just like, hey, you know, this is happening to me, this is happening to me. And then Algorithm responds and say, hey, you know what? This is something that's happening on the Apple side, which is actually kind of interesting. How often is it that Apple releases an OS update where it's buggy? So It's kind of weird. It's kind of strange. The thing about it though is, if you're just using the Apple Music app, everything is fine. So you can grab things, throw them into your playlist, everything like that. But when you're using it with the DJ Pro app, or be a desktop or even the app, you can't load tracks into the decks. And here's the other thing, right? These are tracks that are associated with Apple Music streaming. So, if you created a playlist from the Apple Music streaming service, when you try to upload those tracks into a deck, it doesn't work. If you have just tracks like on your external hard drive, or I should say your internal hard drive, it's gonna work. It's just music that's coming from Apple Music. That's not working with algorithm. And a lot of DJs were pissed because a lot of these working DJs, these wedding DJs, they were like, hey, you know what? They put a playlist together for, an event they had, and then all of a sudden Apple Music stopped working. So now people are like, well, hey, why don't you purchase Tidal? Or why don't you just purchase the tracks? Or why don't you use this other third-party app that can convert, your stuff into music you can play on algorithm DJ Pro? It's just like, no. Why do I have to go through all that? Why do I have to download this app, download that app, go back to Tidal, this, that, and the other? Algorithm said they spoke to Apple and Apple's on it, but right now it's not fixed. This happened maybe earlier in the week. So I've been trying it and it still doesn't work. Again, if you're using music from your internal hard drive, that works. But if you're using algorithms, DJ Pro, and Apple Music streaming, you're gonna get a lot of errors because there is a bug on the Apple side. So just keep that in mind. Now, the Native Instruments Traktor Pro 4 update. So they had a recent update. I think this went from 4.0.1 to 4.0.2, right? And everything was working. Listen, they released Traktor Pro 4, and again, this is the release. This is a major version release. So sure, there are gonna be bugs. That's just what happens, there are gonna be bugs. There are a lot of things that these programmers and these developers don't see. Once they release it out, put it out in the wild, then all us as DJs, we start using it, and we have these sort of muscle memory things we like to do with the software and or the controller that's associated with the software, and those things aren't working. So these individuals that are building out or, programming or coding up this, Traktor Pro 4, they may not see those things that are popping off or some bugs that may be happening. I don't know if this is a bug, but this is what I've discovered. It didn't happen before. As soon as I updated Traktor Pro 4 to its latest version, which is 4.0.2, this started happening for me. Let me know in the comments if you're having the same issue. So again, I have the S4, right? And I love it. I love no jog wheels, mixing dance music because, the creativity, the doors of creativity opens up completely wide when you're using Traktor Control S8 with Traktor Pro 4 or any of the, Traktor softwares. If you're still on 3, it works with 3. I load up a track that I generated stems for. This only occurs when I drop in a track that I generated with stems, and I'm trying to use the stems. So I drop it into deck 2, not deck 1. Deck 1 is fine, right? I drop it into deck 2. Then all of a sudden, when I try to use the effects, nothing, right? I'm like, what's going on? Well, let me try to drop a track into deck 1. Drop it into deck 1. And again, this is a track that I generated stems for. So I'm dropping the stems into, each deck. So deck 2 didn't work. Drop those stems into deck 1. Effects work. Everything is fine, right? I'm like, okay, well, let me drop another track that I generated with stems into deck 2 and see what happens. Nothing. The EQ, not the EQ, the effects do not work. So when I'm pressing effects 1, 2, or 3, nothing's happening. And the other weird thing that happens that I've noticed is when I do put the effects on and I'm like, nothing's happening. So I'll just keep it on. And it's almost like it's taking a slow sort of like pass around itself in a loop, and then it's building up the effect. And then after about like a few minutes, then you hear like you hear the effect. And I'm like, this is wild, right? This is crazy. However, when I do select some of the on-off switches on the actual stem controls on the S8, then I can play with effects, but they sound a little different, you know? And again, this is only happening on deck 2. This is not happening on deck 1. So we know that deck 1 is working with stems. The effects is working with deck 1 when you're using stems. We also know that when you're using stems on deck 2, the effects do not work. So I'm like, all right, well, let me just try to load in some tracks, regular tracks. These tracks are not generated. These tracks do not have generated stems, but some of them did, right? So I just loaded up the single track, no stems, just a single track. Let's load one up into track 1. Effects still works. Let's load a single track, no stems, just a single track into deck 2, and the effects work. So I'm just like, okay, well, we know that there is an issue with loading stems into deck 2, and the effects on deck 2 are not working. We do know that. I've done the due diligence. I've done like the, everything, deductive reasoning, all of that stuff. Just put it through its paces. Just to see, okay, this is working, this is not working, this is working, this is not working. So the issue for me, and again, if you're watching this video and you're having the same issue, please drop a comment or leave a comment, because I know it's just not me, right? So again, Traktor Pro 4, the latest update, which is 4.0.2, when you load generated stem tracks into deck 2, the deck 2 effects do not work. When you load a regular track into deck 2, the deck 2 effects do work. So I don't know what's going on with that. I would love to have like effects on deck 2 when I'm using stems, because it's just sort of powerful, right? So Native Instruments, if you are watching this video, take a look at that. Again, I'm totally pleased with Traktor Pro 4. Again, this is a major version update, so it will be buggy, but I'm not gonna trip out like that, like a lot of people are, oh no, pitchforks and everything. It's like, no, dude, I didn't create the software. So I'm just happy that, these companies are creating products for us that we can use. When they release them, are they sometimes buggy? Sure, but that's fine. We can deal with that. Well, anyway, I just wanted to hop on and just talk about some quick DJ news, and also some things that I've, been experiencing using, Algorithms DJ Pro, and also Native Instruments Traktor Pro 4. Well, there you have it. Until next time, peace.